Yo, there's whispering going on my set. The guests are plotting against me.
Conspiring, man.
They're conspiring.
Where's the rope? Where's the rope?
Shut up. All right, let's talk about it. Well, I mean, we're going to preview this Milwaukee versus Toronto game, but we didn't get a chance to, do our due diligence and talk about the Raptors and potentially Anthony Davis. So before I even ask a ridiculous question, I'm going to ask Blake, if the Raptors were going to throw their name in the hat, what would it look like? Would it be 2 picks? Yeah, give me the brass tacks and the numbers.
Okay, so it starts with one of Jonas Valanciunas to Serge Ibaka to make the salary math work, whether New Orleans looks at them as an asset or not. You probably have to have Pascal Siakam in that deal because he's your best asset. Then you get into, maybe it's OG Anunoby. There's definitely 1 first in there, maybe a 2nd first. The Raptors can't trade a first until 2021 because they traded 2019 in the DeMar DeRozan deal. And then you're still going to have to match some salary with a DeLon Ryder, Greg Monroe. If you wanted Mirotic or Twan Moore back, then maybe you throw in CJ Miles. But basically, it's going to be Siakam, one of the centers, 1 more prospect, and then whatever picks and end of the roster players make it match.
Let me follow up with this question. How ridiculous do you feel now that you had to say that out loud?
I don't feel that. It's Anthony Davis, man.
So do you feel like they're gonna
look? I know that you're expecting me to come on here and be like the calm, reasonable one,
yes,
like I was with Kawhi, like I was at the deadline last year. When you already have Kawhi Leonard, if you can get Anthony Davis as well, especially you guys mentioned that 2 years of him. If you get him right now, you could flip him in the offseason too, recoup some of those assets, maybe.
Is Blake throwing fuel on the fire?
Yeah, I'm having fun with this one.
Fuel on the fire,
I'm having fun with this one.
As you should, because it's crazy to think about, because, wow, last year the Raptors went from a second-round team and it was so disappointing in April and May, and now Kawhi Leonard is here, and oh my God, maybe Anthony Davis? Even the idea of it is exciting, and the idea of it is enough to think about the possibility of it being real, and it absolutely, if it can happen, it should happen. And,
Tori,
sorry.
But it weakens the bench, though. I mean, as great as it is to get
you're mortgaging the future.
Yeah, how useful was the bench in the playoffs last year?
Everybody talks about the bench mob, right? Raptors bench.
Not no more. Not anymore, they don't.
Talk about the bench mob last year, right?
Yes.
Best bench in basketball. So now you're going to drain the Raptors squad 4 or 5 players deep for 1 guy.
Yeah,
the guy's
that
great.
1 guy helps you win now. Like, that's what this is about.
So are you telling me that if AD comes to the Raptors today or before February 8th, the Raptors going to win this year? Do they have enough to beat the Golden State Warriors?
Like, I think it's
a
competitive.
guaranteed trip to the finals.
I think it's competitive.
It's a promise to the finals. It's a promise trip. This is my promise face. I promise.
The thing is, you're not a champion. You're not the championship favorite, but you get the opportunity to be that close so infrequently to where you never hope for an injury, but maybe something breaks differently. Maybe the chemistry clicks. You don't know. You get that close so infrequently.
I'm going to stop this.
No.
This is not the barbershop. You cannot control my show. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Hey, you try to do it on my show.
Right quick.
You try to do it on my show.
It'll get real
you try to do
right
it on my
quick.
show.
It's my network.
All right, go ahead.
All right, let's go. I'm a horrible person. I apologize.
We know.
Okay, now let's stick back to reality, though. Let's get back to the Eastern Conference. Thursday night, they got the Bucks. They're still battling for home court advantage. They're still battling for that tiebreaker. Who's the better team here? I'll start with you, F.
I mean, if they had Anthony Davis... No, I'm just kidding. All right. I still think the Bucks... are the better team, because I think Giannis has been the best player in the East right now. I think Toronto's
walking the streets of Toronto tomorrow.
Listen, I have no problem walking the streets of Toronto here. Come on, nobody
Gangster.
Put a hood on.
Why you have this guy's on?
That's why I put the beard on. Yeah, I can peel the beard off and go away. I think Giannis has been the most consistent player in the East, the best player in the East as well. The Raptors have shown some flaws over the last couple months, really, not just weeks now. I think Milwaukee's still the team to beat. I don't think it's that outrageous saying that.
Milwaukee's a great team. I don't know.
Are they better than the Raptors?
Yes, they are. Yeah, and the Raptors do not match up well against Milwaukee. Raptors on a whole could be a better team than Milwaukee. They just don't match up well against Milwaukee. So Raptors are down 2-1 to Milwaukee so far in the series. Am I right? Yeah. Down 2-1?
Yeah.
They don't match up too well. Milwaukee's long.
Playoffs is a different animal. This is a pretty young team. Green.
Correct. Milwaukee's long. They rebound the ball well. They shoot the ball well. And Bledsoe's a killer, man.
All right, but I will say that the Raptors have not been playing in full force this year.
Which is an issue.
Okay, Blake, your turn.
Yeah, so I think Milwaukee has played the best of any team in the East so far, and I don't think that's really a question, even though their records are close to Toronto's. I still think the Raptors' upside is a little higher. I still think Boston's upside, if they can figure it out. You saw tonight without Kyrie Irving what that looks like. Yeah. If they can figure it out, they're probably just as scary as Milwaukee. In terms of matchup, though, the one interesting wrinkle, we got the one matchup where Giannis and Kawhi both didn't play, and then in the other two, Kawhi hasn't guarded Giannis a whole lot yet. So I don't don't think Toronto's tipped their hand fully. I think they will on Thursday night because that game's so big for tiebreaker purposes and potentially home court. But yeah, I think the Raptors have a little more upside. In Milwaukee, this is kind of so far the best case scenario for them.
We touched on the Raptors' struggles of recent, and Jonas Valanciunas has not been on the floor. He's been a revelation throughout the first part of the season. How badly do they miss this guy?
They miss him pretty badly. Obviously, you know, it's meant playing Greg Monroe 12, 15 minutes a night.
Which has exposed Greg Monroe. It's made him worse.
Yeah, like I like Greg Monroe, but
in
he's...
a limited role.
Yeah, exactly.
You like drawing Greg Monroe.
Yeah.
You like drawing a little moose.
I like drawing my little moose. Yeah, actually, I'm not happy to have had to do that for like 50
yeah,
games.
no kidding.
But yeah, they miss his rebounding. They miss him as a screen setter on offense. You know, he probably has the most roll gravity going to the rim to help the point guards of any big man
roll
on the
gravity.
roster.
That's so smart, eh?
Insider terms. That's why he's on the show.
This guy.
And you know what? Valanciunas gets digged at a little bit for his defense. His rim protection numbers before he went down were really strong too. He was doing that drop back scheme, and in the second year of it, executing it really well. So I think they miss him a little bit all over the place.
Let him know, Blake.
Pardon?
Let him know. Let him know. Let the people know.
All right. Okay. All right. So now that you've said that, we've been talking about the trade deadline. We've been talking about Anthony Davis. If it's not Anthony Davis, should this team make a trade at the deadline?
It's so hard because again, I just
hard.
don't think they've realized the potential like we've all been saying. Like I think there's enough there for them to be competitive and be the best team in the East. I just don't think they put it all together, which means maybe they need someone else to help do that. But the chemistry within themselves right now is what I'd be more worried about. That's just me though.
It's hard to gauge because of the injuries.
Yes.
So you haven't seen a full squad on the floor yet. Kawhi's playing one game here, off game there, so you're not getting the full cohesive unit of the team, so it's kind of hard to tell. Rumblings a few weeks ago, I was talking about Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal,
We'll see how that works.
right, which I think would have been a great addition, but not to let go of Siakam for a Beal type thing, you know what I mean? So
It wouldn't even have been that. It would have been a lot more, I think. I believe his highest price
he was a
is
key.
that.
Yeah, he was a key piece in there, right?
Blake, with great understanding of the roster, available spots, so on and so forth, how likely do you think there's a deal that outside of Anthony Davis?
I don't think it's super likely, and this is where I'll play the role that you expected.
Thank you. Fire extinguisher.
You know, for a medium-level salary to come back, you got to send out C.J. Miles or Norman Powell, probably. Norm, I don't know if you want to do that with his relationship with Kawhi Leonard. And C.J. Miles, you know, hasn't played up to his contract this year, so that's tough to send out. And then if you're not including Siakam or OG Anunoby, you know, what assets do you have? DeLon Wright's nice, but he's going to be a 27-year-old restricted free agent. You can't trade a first-round pick until 2021. So I think they should try to be active. I'm just not sure they're going to have, you know, I think there's going to be a gap between what they're willing to give up and what it's going to cost to make those upgrades, short of if Anthony Davis is legitimately on the market.
All right, still more to... Hey, you guys heard Blake Griffin requested for a trade? Is that true?
Come on.
I heard that. It was a rumor out there.
I heard Blake Murphy requested a trade off.
Blake Murphy requested a trade off the show.
I'm on the barbershop.
Yeah.
That might be true. All right. I'll just throw it out there. Still more to come when we return here on Canada's home for Talking Hoops. Dirk Nowitzki. He's in a three-point shootout, and I'm wondering why. I mean, legendary three-point shooter, not playing much right now. We break it down when we return on